We are back on Fresh Outlook. We had so much fun talking about Dr. Oz and medicine in general that we're going to skip the lightning round today and continue our discussion about Dr. Oz, entertainment and medicine as well with our panel. Dr. Bart Rossi is sticking around for this. Also, Dr. David Dickoff is back. He is from he's the president of the Metropolitan Neurological Consultants, and Toby Amidor, who is a registered dietitian. We left off talking about Dr. Oz, but there's also another show called The Doctors. I don't know if you've seen this or not. And these are the most handsome and beautiful doctors you will ever see in the world. It reminds me of a soap opera. You know, when you watch a soap opera and they're in a hospital, there's never a overweight doctor. There's never a short doctor. There's never a not so good looking doctor. It's almost like they're casting a show for this show with the most beautiful and handsome doctors they can find. And that I find that a bit disturbing because I don't know about the accuracy. Doctor, when you see these shows, what do you think?
I couldn't get a job on it. I auditioned, I tried, trust me.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the idea of the show is to be appealing to people.
Right.
You make a TV show because you want viewership. You want to get a message across, whether it be your professional message or advertisers' messages. I mean, there's a sense that actors and guests should be, you know, appealing to the audience that's watching them.
And I think we wouldn't argue with that.
And some people would even argue that the messages are better received from people like that.
We also see articles in newspapers which are written by advertisers, and they are masked as articles. I think they call them advertorials or something like that. They have lists of things you could do and so on. And I think in a lot of ways, these doctors are almost compelled to promote products which they may or may not have tested, may or may not know are good or not, but because the sponsor or sponsors have paid money, or maybe have not paid money, but have influenced the producers, they're running these things. And I find that, again, I think somebody said a moment ago, it's a real fuzzy line, isn't it?
It is, and there needs to be full disclosure. And even I do blogging, it has to be fully disclosed if I work with somebody, and if a doctor works with someone.
Well, you would do that because you're ethical. Why don't TV shows do? Why don't doctors on TV shows?
Everybody should be doing it. It should be known who you are working with. And a lot of times, I know when I work with somebody, it's because I truly believe in the product, but I know there are other people that just trying to get the dollars, and that's where the fuzzy line is.
Doctor, have you seen this in your years?
I see some physicians, and this is why doctors are being questioned more today. Some physicians really do not have an open mind in terms of where they're going with their own career. They're very narrow-minded in what they want to believe in and what they're thinking about. Some of them aren't too big on mental health or behavioral problems. They're too much into pills solving problems. Boy, I mean, that's one of the reasons doctors today have a real issue. And I think that many doctors who are more open-minded and thoughtful and think of all of the remedies that might be possible and effective are really much better doctors, and they present themselves differently. And on TV, I think sometimes we get into this narrow point of view. I mean, the doctors, I think they're plastic surgeons trying to promote good-looking, the good-looking aspect of life. But certainly life is much more than that.
And they can't be experts in every field of medicine.
Right.
If they are cosmetic surgeons. You know, I went to a doctor recently and I had a sore throat, and I left with, I'm not kidding you, 4 prescriptions and an inhaler. Now this is for sore throat. I threw them away. It led me to believe that this doctor was pushing or promoting something, maybe because a salesperson had come in earlier and said this is a real good medicine. But I found it overkill that I would get 4 prescriptions and an inhaler for a sore throat, which was essentially a sore throat. Does this happen in your practices, or was this a case that just happened to me?
Well, if the question is directed to me, I'd happily address it.
Yes.
There are a lot of patients who are over-medicated. There is a real dynamic between the pharmaceutical industry and the medical profession. The pharmaceutical industry, on the one hand, is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and their only goal is to sell drugs. Even the process of developing drugs is towards the end of selling drugs. And who prescribes the medications? Only people with licenses, doctors, and other caregivers.
Right.
So there's a real dynamic between a huge and powerful industry pushing the sale of medications and the doctors that prescribe them as a final common pathway. And your point is extremely well taken. It really affects the patient-doctor relationship. At the end of the day, this is not a discussion about personalities or about who said this or who said that. The issue is one of professional ethics. And your point is extremely well taken, because these these aspects that cause deterioration in the professional ethic, cause a deterioration in the patient-physician relationship, which is the key to the honest practice of medicine.
Agreed. Now, Toby, I'm sure there are some, you're involved in the nutrition and health industries. I'm sure there are some, not pills, but some foods and some exercises that can really solve this stuff, minus all the pills. I think most Americans look for the quick cure. So, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to give you a pill. I have a headache, I'm going to give you a pill. I'm going to do that. But if you just live a more healthful life.
Well, I'm a registered dietitian,
Yes.
so my major was clinical nutrition and dietetics, and I've worked in hospital with clients. And absolutely, scientific evidence absolutely shows that you can actually, if you lose weight, the blood pressure can help lower it, so you don't need medications. Same with diabetes. So there are medical conditions that if you do change your diet, it should be diet first. And then after that, you can talk about medications. And that's why it's really important also for a physician to refer to a registered dietitian or to see a registered dietitian and they work together, because the physician just has a really limited amount of time, which brings in the whole controversy of insurance. How much do they pay for? And that's why you have registered dietitians to help supplement and help the client in a different way.
Are the doctors treating the symptoms, but not the core problem?
A lot of times they are. A lot of times it could be, but you need proper testing. Like a lot of people just go, I've heard doctors say, go gluten-free. Have they gotten tested?
Right.
My stomach hurts because the dairy bothers me. Oh, avoid dairy. Have they gotten tested for lactose intolerance? Because lactose intolerance, you actually can consume up to a cup a day, depending on the individual. That's what studies show.
Now, Toby makes a good point. You guys probably have patients lined up out the door, and you have to process them, for lack of a better description. And you can't really spend the quality time to say, what is it you're eating? Are you eating a lot of this? Let's take a half hour and discuss this. I've been in doctors' offices, and I know they come in, they're out. And they're busy.
But some of the doctors, as we're discussing here, have a preconceived idea. What pill am I going to prescribe to solve the problem?
Right.
And it seems like there's two camps in America. Those people who want a quick fix, they want to take a pill to solve whatever problem, even if it's a relationship problem. They would take whatever.
An antidepressant or whatever.
It'll save your marriage. And there's the other camp that believes that pills are ridiculous and that we need to go down another avenue. So we're going in two different directions here, and I think that's why a lot of physicians are being questioned.
Doctor, you have colleagues that maybe have a one-size-fits-all? Somebody comes in with A, and this is the cure for A.
Well, no, I've never watched anybody work that closely, and I don't imagine that anybody looks at their practice that way. There are certainly time constraints, and for the most part, the interaction with a specific patient is focused and is goal-oriented, and is focused either on your understanding of what their condition is, for example, a follow-up visit for a Parkinson's patient and their family. Or the goal of the visit is begun by the patient's initial complaint.
Right.
And if you have 5, 10, or 15 minutes, you're going to basically spend it addressing that complaint.
You make an interesting point. Does that mean that, and we have just 30 seconds to go here, does that mean that there can be a joining of these two, as you mentioned, doctor, nutritionist, and so on, to really find some cures? Or, bigger question, do you think people, for the most part, want that easy fix and do not want to do the hard work that might really change their lives? Eating better, exercising, jogging, whatever the case may be.
Part of what I do with my patients is try to create a team.
Yes.
And that team includes family, it includes other caregivers, and good communication is the key to that.
And a lot of different inputs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's really the key to success in treating a patient.
All right.
Absolutely
Dr.
agree.
Rossi, thank you. Dr. Dickman, we appreciate your time, and Toby as well.
Thank you so much.
Really good conversation here. I learned a lot about medicine today. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us on Fresh Outlook. Until next time, I'm Frank Cipolla. Enjoy your week.